It's just like, but I think as athletes and as human beings in general, there's a certain mentality you got to have when you are attacking something. You have to think of yourself as the best person in your field that you can be. And some people may say, that's all ego, but I think you have to control your ego so you can reach a certain pinnacle of success and excellence that you want for yourself, right? But I want to transition into um, going into the American system, right? Because I think a lot of athletes listening to this, especially the ones in high school, they don't know what that looks like. They don't know what that may feel like. And for Shagun, like, you chose not to go to an American school, and maybe you can start there. What made you stay home?
Funny enough, I actually did want to go to an American school. I wanted to go to LSU or Florida, and I did get some offers and stuff. But to be honest, part of it was that I really didn't know how it worked. Similar to, I think, Dre, and similar to Aaron, and I didn't really know how the whole thing worked. I just thought that, like, from what I was hearing, people that went to OFSA and they ran fast and they got scholarships. So I'm like, that's what I got to do. How fast I have to run, right? I'm like, oh, you have to run around this time and that time, and then people will start talking to you. I'm like, okay. So my whole mentality going in, especially going into OFSA, was like, if I want to get a scholarship, I have to run a certain time. So I was like, my whole objective time equals result, right? And so that's how I operate. I'm like, if I hit this time, it should give me the result that I want, right? And so it didn't happen like that. And funny enough, I actually sent a letter or a note, an email down to Coach Shaver, I think was still the coach at the time, and didn't email me back. So I'm like, wait, how does this work? And so I didn't really know. But at the same time, talking to my coach, who's Glenroy at the time, he's kind of also making the comparisons of why go if you have everything you need right here. And considering how I didn't get any scholarships or anything like that, and at Ottawa did have pretty much everything that I needed in terms of going to school, program, a track to be able to train in the winter and the summer. And so I was like, well, and also I was thinking about my family too, right? It was a big thing of I didn't want my parents to pay for university or my education or anything like that, and also be able to get some perks from the Canadian system and the university that way. So I'm like, it still kind of met everything that I wanted, even though it didn't look like the way I wanted. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
So it still kind of met what you wanted, even though it wasn't. That's good,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So, but if I think if I could, I probably would have went to an American school, to be honest. But I just didn't know how. I just didn't know how it worked.
So, I think one of the things, and I'll speak about myself before you guys can go. It wasn't necessarily the fact that it was an American school per se, but it was the fact that those guys were the best in the world in that field, and you want to go and compete against the best. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, one of the biggest things was obviously to get my school paid for. But I'm like, these mans are training year round. Well, certain schools are training year round, and they're competing against the best in that position in the world right now. I'm like, I need some of that fire, So, Brendan, maybe you can tell me about LIU, because that was a big move for you. Like that, I think that was a big shift and shaped a lot of your experiences and honestly how you develop as an athlete.
Definitely. LIU was the turning point of my whole career. I mean, I think the year before I went to LIU, I was running 21.5, and then within that year, I ran 20.6, and I think everything changed just from that. Going to the States, it was just always something that I envisioned, and that's what everybody spoke about. Everybody always talks about all right, you go to the States and you go to NCAAs, and if you can win NCAAs, you're one of the best all time. So that was always the goal, and I mean, I went running really I'm gonna make national. I mean, that was my first goal, and I made it indoor, so compete with these guys now, and that is previous years. Now I know I can compete with the best, of the best, and at the time that was how I looked at it.
So Aaron, tell me, man, because man, you were a top recruit. You know what I'm saying? You was running track and you was playing football. Man, you had all of the intangibles. So what made you pick USC, and what would you say uh, USC has done for your career? Because man, you accomplished some pretty nice things, if I do say so myself.
Um, yeah, so like Shagun did, when I was in grade 10, I sent out a whole bunch of letters like to all the schools, and they basically, some of them replied, some of them didn't, and they basically said like, this is what you have to run in order to get a full ride scholarship. And some of them were crazy. Some of them were like, yo, you have to run like 10.2 and 20.5. And I was like, that's impossible. How I can't do that in high school? What the hell? But it's crazy because the next year when I went to World Youth and I ran 10.46 and got second, those same schools that said I had to run 10.2 were hitting me up. And I'm like, I thought I had to run 10.2. But then they're like, no, we're good. We've seen you run. There's potentially, blah, blah, blah. We want you to come for a visit and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. So I just chose like my favorite ones. I chose Florida State, USC, and A&M to go on visits, because those are the ones I heard had like really good programs or really good schools education wise. And then I chose USC just because it was in LA. I thought I want to choose a city that I might potentially live in after, and LA is a lot like Toronto. I couldn't see myself really living in Tallahassee or College Station, which is where A&M and Florida State are. So I signed with USC, but the crazy thing is one of my big schools was LSU, just like Shagun, and they hit me up to come on a visit as soon as I signed to USC. So it was already too late. I was like, yo, mom, did you already send out the letter? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, damn it. Like, guy just hit me up. I'm like, yo, hold on, don't do it. But the reason that they hit me up is because they were recruiting Prezel Hardy. He was the guy that beat me at World Youth, and he signed to A&M, so they had another scholarship. And then they're like, all right, let's give it to this guy. But anyways, I went to USC, and my first year was kind of trash. I didn't realize how much different it was going to be. I was kind of the man in high school, and I thought I was just going to walk in and be the man in college, but I got slapped up like crazy. Like it was a whole different level. I never lifted weights in high school, so like lifting that was like learning all the technique and all that. That was tough. And then just like the way that they trained was like way harder than in high school. When training with Bill, like he kind of went soft on us, and I didn't realize because that's all I ever knew. That was my first real coach in track. So I thought like we were training hard, but when I got to USC, they were killing us. So, and then, you have all your college schools, classes and all that to keep up with. So it was a struggle trying to figure it out. But then slowly I started to, figure out my own system and the best way that I can and be better. And then I just each year got better as I went to NCAAs. And, when my senior year, I graduated having finished second in the 2 and third in the 100. That was like my best finishes at NCs. But yeah, it was a struggle early on, but I had to like slowly figure it out. And I think that helped me because my pro career has been kind of the same, where like early on I was kind of struggling and I had to figure out like how I could readjust my schedule and all that stuff, and how I was training my approach in order to get better each year. And I've been slowly doing that same type of deal.
Man, I'm gonna get to Dre last because we both had something in similar. We didn't necessarily go we didn't go Division I at the beginning. So, but Bilotti, you didn't either, man. You took a different route. And I think it's good for people listening to this because there's different stages of it, right? Like there's more than one way how to reach a mark and how to get to a goal. So tell me, Bilotti, a little bit about your career and what made you pick the school that you went to.
Funny enough, I didn't actually pick the school that I went going to. I think it all started kind of after World Juniors, where after that, the coach at UCLA contacted me. Funny enough, he was actually Aaron's former coach from USC. He came over, he came for a visit and everything, talked to my family and everything. Everything was good. And he's telling me, oh yeah, you remind me just like Aaron Brown. I didn't know who Aaron was at the time because I was still very young to the sport. I was very, very new. So I had no idea who Aaron was. I'm just like, oh yeah. Like just eating it all up. He's like, yeah, you remind me of Aaron Brown. You can do great things, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, shoot, sounds good. We found out that I wasn't eligible that year, so I did do the 5th year route of high school, and then during that 5th year, I'd spoken to University of Alabama, and which is where I came over for the visit. That's where I met you for the first time.
So I got two different stories about that time, because when you came and Dre came, and you go, and then I'll.
Yeah, so that's where I met you for the first time. And I came with my mom, and everything seemed good. I met the team, and everything seemed good to me. I was like, you know what, this is nice, cool. And so I did end up signing. And I mean, I didn't really get to know you much because I think DeAndre was
your host, yeah.
My host, right? So I met Deshane there. So I had signed, went to World Juniors that year again, so 2014. And then after World Juniors was when Coach called me and was like, hey, I don't know who told you that you needed these 2 classes, but those weren't the 2 classes you needed to take. So you're ineligible for D1, ineligible for the SEC for 2 years. You can go D2. Yeah, it's messed up. You can go D2, but you can't compete your freshman year. Or you can go junior college. So I'm ringing up everybody's phone trying to figure, and mind you, this is the first time I had actually actively tried to reach out to schools. I never did. I always just, all right, well, whatever happens, happens. Like I didn't know there was a process behind it. So, reached out to a couple schools. All the D2 schools I reached out to said, oh, you can't run for us. Sorry, we don't have any money for you. The junior colleges said, oh man, you should have called us last week. We would have had some cash for you. And then I think it was the last week. So my birthday is the last week of August. That last week, Academy of Art coach called me and was like, hey, I'm hearing through the grapevine that you're looking for somewhere to go. You can come here. I know you can't compete your freshman year, but come here. I'll give you a scholarship. If you like it, you can stay another year. If you don't like it, I'll give you a release papers. I was like, what are you talking about, Willis? What's the catch?
So he gave you, that's crazy because they don't really do that. Once you're locked in.
There was nothing.
Yeah, most schools don't do that.
If you like it, you can stay. If you don't like it, you can go. I was like, okay, what's the catch? It's an art school. I'm like, where is it? San Francisco, California. Oh yeah, pack my bags, I'm going. Within the span of a week, my coach, because the school isn't massive, within the span of a week, he sped up all my exceptions and everything, my acceptance letters and everything. Everything was processed and done in the span of a week. And I booked a flight and I went with my mom to San Francisco within that 1 week. Then after that, it was really just like, coming from high school, going there, I couldn't compete the freshman year. So I was just there training all day. I ran one meet, I think, and I went to Mount Sac, which is where I saw Andre there. We had a quick little conversation and everything. But then my second year at that school was when everything started to take off. I won my 60-meter title, went 6:57 that year. That was the same year. Actually, yeah. So that same season, came third in the 100 and then came to nationals. And that's where, for the first time, I'm meeting, everybody but Andre and Shogun. That's really the first time I was meeting all of them. And that was Olympic trials. And then after that, it was like, from then on, you guys all became like my big brothers. I was like, oh, cool. It's great. And so I always just took that fuel from OFSA, like, yo, I'm getting to OFSA. I'm the man. Get slapped. I always took that and went into school and was like going to NCAAs. I came out with 10 NCAA titles, 20-time All-American. I went into every single NCAA final, like, yo, you've been here multiple times. And this is something Aaron said to me, I think it was in London, before the 4x1 when we ran at the I can't remember what it's called, but we ran in London. He was like, yo, if you're stepping on this track, it means you deserve to be here. So and till this day, that has stuck with me 100%. Like every time I step into NCAA 100-meter final, 200 final, 4x1, I belong here. Let's just do what we got to do. What you did to come here. Don't try to gas yourself up and blow a hamstring or something. So.
And I think that's important, bro, because, you one of the things I realize about pressure situations is the moment that you go into a pressure situation and you try to do something differently, it doesn't work out, right? So everybody took their different route, right? But Dre and I took a similar route. So how you said, you know, about your eligibility, man. Well, I was about to sign to Florida State to play football and run track, but I realized that one of the maths that I took in the ninth grade, the NCAA didn't accept
Yep.
anymore. So I was
Yep.
automatically ineligible. So I go to junior college. Shout out to Barton Community College, man. And then I went to the University of Alabama. Now, Alabama came, and then Duchesne hit me, and he was just like, yo, we got this young Canadian kid coming in. You know, he's coming to visit. And it was Dre. I didn't know much about Dre. I didn't know too much about what he was going on. I just know he was Canadian. In my mind, I was like, look, this is my last year here. I'm not going to be here next year. But I'm like, yo, do I tell him that? And so he comes in. Oh, Dre comes in. He's like, yo, man, what's going on? Like, he's excited, right? Like, he's excited. And we're at the volleyball game, and Deshane's just like, yo, should we tell him? Just like, yo, we have to. And yo, the man's having a wicked time. He's enjoying the game. Because in junior college, bro, first of all, junior college is hard. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, junior college is hard. And so he's having a good time. And I was just like, yo, he was like, yo, our team is going to be nice. It's going to be me, you, Deshane, so-and-so. I was like, yo, I got to tell him. I was like, yo, so what other schools are you looking into? He was like, man, you know, USC and some other schools. And he was just like, yo, but our team is going to be nice. I was just like, yo, don't come here. He was like, what? I was like, yo, don't come here. He was like, yo, why? I was like, yo, I'm leaving next year. Deshane's leaving next year. So you're really going to be by yourself, you know? And he was just like, but his face was just like, oh, word, huh? You know, so Dre, tell me a little bit about, you know, Coffeeville, and then quickly your transition when you went to USC, because this is kind of where things started to take off for you.
Yeah, I just remember like these are my words from my coach Tony when I went to JUCO. He was just like, keep your head down, stay focused, do the work.
Ain't nothing else you can do.
and by the end of these 2 years, it'll go by so fast. You'll be right back. Like, basically just be where you want to be. Because I remember just talking. I didn't really want to tell my mom and my family like what I was going through, because I didn't want them to worry too much. Like, in my mind, I was like, man, this is rough. I want to come home. So I just remember like talking to Tony. Tony was like my mentor, my role model at the time. He was just like, don't worry, it's gonna go by quick. You know, things are gonna go smoothly. You know, just do what you got to do just to make it through. So I just remember like talking to the guidance counselor. He's like, hey, these are the courses you have to take. Because you can still mess up in junior college to go to university. Like, you have to make sure you still take the right courses to go to university. So I just remember talking to the guidance counselor. He was like, take these courses, take this course, take that course. So I just basically just kept my head down, did my work, made sure that I, had to have like a 3.3 at the time to go to university, because junior college was ranked so low. Kind of considered like high school, I guess, but high school, you get the SAT with it to combine your grade. You make sure you have to do all this work so you can go university. So I mean, it was rough those 2 years, but I just played a lot of PS4, just FaceTimed, talk to a 1-2 girl, just try to buy the time, just get through the time. Obviously meets made it better because, we traveled like, once every 2 weeks to go to a track meet. I remember, we were going to track meets on the bus, like I think it was in New York. We went on the bus for like 28 hours or something like that. I was like, this is crazy. And then our outdoor nationals was in Arizona. So we went like 15, 16 hours on a bus. I was like, this is crazy. But
what most people don't understand, right, is Division I, you're flying, right? Like, you're nice. You just got to show up
everywhere.
When you're junior college, dog, you have to get up at like 4 a.m. and you got to take this 9-hour trip on the bus, and like your window is half cracked and you got to stop halfway to duct tape it up, and then you got to go on your journey. And then you got to go try to race once you get there, because, you only got enough money for a night of hotel. And then you got to go and you try to run and warm up, and your back is cramping. And you're like, I can't move. Like, junior college is tough.
I mean, yo, it was what I remember. I remember meeting Aaron like at when in Nebraska. We came from like a 4 or 5 hour ride. I was like, oh, I gotta go race this guy to 200 right now. so I'm like, it was crazy. It was definitely crazy. But I mean, I kind of just did what I had to do, like I said. And then this is when like everything was going well. I won nationals. I won nationals in the indoor nationals in the 60 and the 200. Then I won outdoor nationals in the 100. I was blessed by then, so in 200 I came like 7th or 8th, and then the next year after I ended up winning the 200 at national. So everything was going good, and then I ended up taking like my visits, and that's where, I think my first visit was Alabama. So that's where I met Akeem and Deshane for the first time, and I was just like, I remember I was excited. I was like, "Yo, Canadians! Like, haven't seen you guys in a minute. Like, been here with Americans, and they're just different." Yeah, I was just like, I was excited. I was like, yo, we're going to have a nice relay team. Everything's going to go good. And then that's when Akeem broke my heart.
I'm looking happy.
But I really admire Akeem for that because like he kept it real with me. He was like true and honest. So just by like having his advice, like I didn't really have a lot of mentors in my life growing up, so I kind of consider him as like one at the time when I was going through this whole process, and him just like taking me through the whole thing of what it's like. So it was pretty cool to have him and Deshane. So I mean, I kept in touch. Deshane was from Toronto, so I still talk to Deshane to this day. Like he's my man, yo. Like, well, I think like last year I was at his gym. He has a personal training gym. I was like, yo, come train me, train me right now. like I'm out of shape. This is in the off season when track's not going on. So. But yeah, I just remember doing that, the whole process, and then after that, I took a visit to Florida State. Then I took another visit to UCLA, and then my final visit was USC, and that's where I met Aaron. Aaron was my host at the time. Cool guy, never met him before, but I heard a lot about him. He was fast. He had the school records and everything. He just remember him telling me about it. Him, Aaron. It was basically Aaron and this other guy, BJ. BJ was a cool guy as well, and they were just telling me. Aaron was like basically telling me the same thing, like he's not going to be there next year. He's graduating. But I think like just because LA, he just told me so much about it, and LA was like just like Toronto. And then I remember we still had other guys. I had to make a decision. So I remember, I think it came down to USC after Akeem told me Alabama was out the question. I came down to USC and Florida State, and I just remember I just felt comfortable probably going to USC because it was in LA. Aaron told me he was still, even though he wasn't competing, he was still going to be there graduating. Mm-hmm. So I was like, cool, I got a friend, got a Canadian, so he can show me the ropes. And then I remember. What'd you say?
What?
What'd you say?
Aaron tricked you. Aaron tricked him.
No, I was still there for a semester.
No, he was there. He was finishing school and all that. He was graduating. So I still up with him and stuff like that. He showed me around LA Live, just stuff to do. So I mean, it was like LA was just like Toronto. So I was like, oh, this is probably the school for me. And then at the time, I had met Quincy Watts. It wasn't even like Carroll was cool, but like Quincy Watts, I'm just like, yo, this guy was the man, like 400 meter Olympic champ. And he just was basically telling me everything I needed to hear. He was cool. So I wanted to go there, but then I just remember, nobody knows this, but it was a tricky situation because I almost couldn't go to USC because I remember Quincy was like, you need to get a B. I think it was like a B plus in algebra math to get accepted. And I was like, oh, this is pressure. I was like, yo, what? Like, I was like, algebra, like, what is this? Like, 2x, 3x squared. Like, I'm like, yo, like, I can't do this. Like, I never even did this in high school. Like, I'm like just feeling the pressure. And I'm like, damn, this is the school I want to go to. And now all of a sudden I need to make sure I get this. So, I mean, I just remember like in JUCO, I was like, every day I was going to the tutor. They had like a tutor study hall. Every day I went to go get tutor for algebra math. And I like was talking to the professor and was like, I need to get like at least a B plus. Like I need this, like, and so she helped me out as well. Like make sure like I knew the formulas and stuff like that. So I ended up getting the B plus and I ended up getting accepted to USC, and that's how I ended up there. And from there, it just took off. I was just excited to be in university. USC, man. Oh, it was amazing. Not just the track wise and the campus, like just everything, like parties, like just it was just, man, this is LA right now. Like
Yeah.
you see celebrities on campus. It was just like, man, like this is my life right now. Like I made it. I made it.
It's just you saying I made it. Yo, if you go to junior college, yo, once you get to Division I, like that's the first thing you're gonna say, like, yo, I made it out of here, right?
Yeah.
But I think in different situations, you know, the whole process of how you were in high school, whether you created these habits and these discipline, helped and shaped each and every single one of us in some way, and then we matured and went with it as we got to the collegiate level. You know, I want to talk about 2016, and this is kind of the last thing that we'll talk about, man. 2016, right? So everybody kind of has been prospering in different parts of their career, but everybody's on the up and up. And you know, 2016, I think it was a special year for all of us individually, but collectively, because, you know, it was one of the first times that people were able to see Canada with many different bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like not just, oh, he's a high jumper here and here's a throw over here, but like, man, like I think that was the year that we got the most medals. When you get to Olympic trials, because I think one of the things people forget is when you're in competition, and yeah, you know, we all keep in touch and it's always love, but when you get to that point, you're not talking to anybody, right? Like you're not friends. Like you're just, you know, you may say, oh, yo, what's up, giving them a dap, but then when it's time to be on, you really like, I honestly didn't even remember seeing Brendan at all the whole time. Like, yo, where is this guy? Is he even here? And I think it's important to discuss that aspect of it, because now the pressure is on for everybody. You know, you already got some accolades coming in and now there's expectations. So what was the mental process going into Olympic trials like for you? You know, Shagun, you talked about, man, you know, I got to come here and rep for Ontario or rep for Ottawa. And you're a grown man now. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a grown man now. And you literally have that opportunity to do so. And you are in this position. How do you handle that, man? Because there's pressure, right? Because your coach is one of the Olympic coaches, right? Glenroy, right?
Yeah.
So were you confident going in? Like, did you feel good going in?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel any type of way. Funny about like, I don't know, 8 weeks or 10 weeks before, I don't think anybody really knows this, but I tore my hamstring and I had to go get PRP in my hamstring for it. And something happened. I don't know what happened, but afterwards something messed up, or like, I guess one of my muscles or tendons, whatever, was like together, and like I couldn't move. So I couldn't walk actually, like about that 8 weeks before. So like I was rehabbing, and I think we had like a camp in Baton Rouge, and like I was like just scraping by, like really in terms of like physical, like, you know, ability really. And but going in, like things were kind of getting better. Like I was dropping some times and it was like, okay. But going in, I'm like, really, at the end of the day, I was like thinking about it going in. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. Technically, like my leg's supposed to be still messed up. And so, you know, whatever happens, good or bad, obviously it's not like I wasn't going like, oh, no, whatever happens, good or bad, you know, it's like it's gonna be great. I'm like, no, but like, at the same time, it was like, you know, I knew how like the amount of work I put in just to get back to like running kind of shape, and you know, I obviously trusted my coach a lot, and so I'm like, well, you know, whatever happens from this point, you know, good or bad, whether I blow up or I don't blow up, you know, I can sleep at night knowing that I did everything. That's a big thing for me. Like if I can go in, you know, win or lose, knowing that like I did everything that I could, and I can like go like if my grandkids were to come up and be like, you know, Grandpa, what happened? How come you didn't make it? Like, cause I did everything I could, right? And I'm like, and they keep on asking me questions, and I can like rest assured. Like if they ask me why, you know, I don't have to like explain to them, or like, you know, have some sort of thing in the back of my head of like maybe I should have done more or something like that. Then I'm cool. So going in, you know, I obviously the goal was to hopefully make the team, but at the same time I was like, you know, I'm not supposed to be here right now. And so I'm really just going to go out there and leave it all on the table, and where the chips fall is where they fall. So, yeah, that's kind of like my mentality going to it. And of course, like Glenroy, Glenroy, yeah, like I guess there's a little bit of pressure because Glenroy just like, listen, man, like don't screw this up for me.
Yo, this man's Glenroy impression is,
you know what I mean? I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, like you're supposed to be training me, like, you know what I mean? That's the whole thing. No, but that's cool. Like me and Gloria always have to stay back and forth like that. So like that was kind of cool. Like him doing stuff like that, as weird as it like made it been, that also kind of relaxed me a little bit too, because like that's just the way he is, and that's kind of the dynamic of our relationship, going back and forth because we've been together so long. But yeah, so that kind of helped me kind of put, just kind of be a bit more relaxed in going into it as well. So
yeah. So for you, it's just like, man, even though I got this injury, I'm technically not supposed to be here, but I'm still gonna go out and see what's gonna happen, and I'm not gonna take it lightly or make excuses, right?
Yeah, and I'm a competitor, so like it ended up working out at the end of the day. Ended up running pretty well. Yeah, and just having like the guys that are around too, knowing that you're gonna be competing against yourself, Aaron. I don't think he ran the 100.
No, he didn't run the 100 that day.
But knowing that Andre was going to be there, guys are jumping 9s and stuff like that. It's like he can't be running certain times anymore. So
No,
like yeah, exactly, right. So for me, I'm like, well, I got to run 10-1 or better, and that was like my mentality going into it. So I'm very like kind of objective, kind of driven. So I knew what I had to do to go in, like bare minimum. Right. And that's kind of what ended up happening. And so, it's just having people around kind of elevates you as well. Right. So, yeah, it's like a combination of things.
Man, I don't know what it was. Maybe you guys can expound on it too, but there was just, to me, there felt like there was something in the air that day because, bro, like, well, that whole weekend, because it was the first time that I've ever seen like the stands completely packed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was just like, yo, where'd all these people come from?
I think too is because we're coming from, and this is no slight if anybody hears this from Athletics Canada or anything like that too. This is I sit on like the council for the athletes council, but like I think it was they're moving the championship just because there are certain places that give you a certain like feeling, right? And so the past 2 years we were competing in New Brunswick, I think New Brunswick, and so going from New Brunswick to Edmonton, and Edmonton has like a sport history, right? Of like the Oilers and the Eskimos, and so they have like a kind of culture around sports. And so then having like them all come out to the track, and they're known, quote unquote, to be the city of champions, right? So they kind of understand sports a bit more. Not to say that New Brunswick doesn't, but just like in that environment, they kind of appreciate it a bit more. So having that, like everybody out there and they're promoting it, and it's the Olympic trials for that matter, and so it was kind of it was a big deal, and that kind of adds to the whole like electricity of the event when it happens.
Balade, we've been, once we made the team, we've been roommates quite some time for that trip, and we were just stuck. I remember having a conversation one time and we were talking about that, and you were just like, I was like, yo, nobody rated me. like nobody expected me to make the final.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about was that like for you? I mean, did you have those same expectations as to make it, or were you just like, yo, whatever?
No. I opened my indoor season with 665. And from when I ran that race, I was like, yo, I'm going to the Olympics. And I said it because I think Ryan Bailey was in that race. And in the final, I ran 663 and he ran 665. And I was like, yo, that's it. I'm going to the Olympics. Like from there, I'm going. That's it. And a lot of people were kind of like, yo, but don't you need to run this time? Like, yo, 10-1, because at this point I had only run a personal best of 10:45. So this was going into my redshirt freshman year in university. I'd only run 10:45. So it's like, yo, don't you need to run 10-1 to make the Olympic team? I was like, no, it's off. It's okay. I will run it. When the time comes, I will run it. And so as the season went on, I won the 60-meter indoor, came second in the 2, went outdoor, ran 10:25, 20.5. I was like, okay, it's faster, but like it's not the 10-1 I needed. Then we got to nationals, and like you said, that electricity that was out there, like just there was something in the air. I remember I was in the same heat with Andre, and so immediately I went back to high school, and I was like, flashback immediately, because we were side by side, right? And and at this point, Andre had really started to take off in his track career. I think that was really a pivotal moment in his track career. And I was like, I did it in high school, I can do it again. And that's really what I told myself. I did in high school, I can do it again. And I see Dre like really calm, just, cool, and everyone, Andre the Glass. I'm like, I did it before, I could do it again. and so I really never once for a second doubted that I was going to make that team.
Yeah.
And we ran the heats, and as soon as the gun went, exact same stuff that happened to me at OFSA, and I was gone. And midway through the race, I think it was maybe about 80 meters, a lot later than it had happened prior to that, Dre kind of, pulled ahead. And then I saw his time. He ran 10:08. And I was like, yo, I was not that far behind. No. Yo, if they give me anything slower than what, I'm going to be vexed. And so I saw my time come up, and it was 10:15. And I was like, yo, that's the standard was 10:16. I was like, yo, I just ran the stand, and I was amped beyond all belief, going to and that same year, actually, I was still dealing with my hamstring injury. So the fact that I was able to run that time, I was like, okay, let's see what the finals have to say. Let's see what's going on. The finals came through. Mind you, I had heard about this Aaron Brown guy. I knew you, but I've never seen you run. And Dre didn't run the 100. Shogun, I forgot to mention, I met Shogun when I went to visit Ottawa, actually. So I knew, I was like, okay, there's some guys in here that are kind of moving. So like, what are we gonna do? Then the gun went. I did not have the same start that I did, and I was vexed the entire race because I was like, yo, if I had a better start, I would have been closer with them. Like I would have got slapped, and I would have been okay with it. But like I would have maybe PB'd, And so. I came fourth in that race, so it was Dre, Aaron, yourself, and I was like, yo, and I didn't know at the time what the relay was, right? All I knew was you came third, you're not going, right? I didn't know. I was in the stands getting treatment from Danielle. Glenroy came out to me, he was like, hey, did you sign the relay forms? I was like, no. What relay forms? Go sign the relay forms. I was like, okay. And Danielle, to this moment, I was so ignorant to what all that stuff meant. Danielle told me, you're going. And I just lost it, started crying right there. And then later on that night, we all went out to celebrate, everybody waiting for that email. We were out having fun together, but everybody was waiting for that email. And so I remember you was specifically, Akeem, yo, you got an email yet? I'm like, I don't know. And I was stressing because I was like, you guys are good. Y'all can have fun. I'm over here stressing like, can I get an email from, my flashlight is on. Did I get an email from Athletics Canada? Like I didn't know. And then the email came in. And Akeem, you came out to me and was like, and it was quite weird because the way you came out to me wasn't like come out to me like you knew I was on the team. You came out to me like, yo, did you get an email? Like you didn't say it to me like the email had come out yet, You didn't tell me that, they've sent out confirmation. You just said, yo, you get an email yet? Check my phone. Yo, I got an email. And I lost it. And
but the reason why I asked that, bro, was because like I didn't know you that well, but from the interactions that we had, man, there was a good spirit about you. And I didn't want the email to come out and you find out and all man's just like, yo, we're gonna win this. And then you're just but what was interesting was when I asked that and you found out, man, like you literally had like tears coming down your face. And I think that was a testament for the hard work that you put in. And because again, we talked about, you said, yo, like nobody rated me, so I was genuinely happy for you that time, man. Aaron, I want to talk about your experience next because, man, look, if anybody's been following Aaron's career, and me, Aaron, and Brendan grew up and Shogun around all the same time. Dog, Aaron was just nice, just nice. Yo, from he was young, Aaron's making teams. He's running fast. Like Aaron's been around the system for a while. Did you feel a certain pressure during this time because you've been there in 2012? But what was different around this time? Did you feel more prepared, or were you just like, yo, I'm just gonna see how this goes, or were you just like, yo, it's my time?
Talking about trials or the Olympics? Trials. All right. So trials, I didn't really feel that much pressure because like Bloody said, Andre was the man, right? He got bronze in 2015, and all the spotlight was on him. So for the first time, I felt like I wasn't the top dog, or at least like considered one of the top dogs. Like definitively, it was all about Dre at that point. So I kind of felt like I'd had some pressure off of me going into the trials, even though I remember the first round went off and I was in Shagun's heat and I had a really good start. I cleared the field and I was like, all right, I'm good. I could relax a little bit. And I ran like 10:07. And then I was like, yo, that felt easy. Like I'm going to drop another 9 because that was my last race. Like if I ran an easy 10:07, I should easily go 9 in the finals. And then I saw the next heat go and it was Bilotti and Dre's heat. And I saw Bilotti get a wicked start. And then Dre came back at the end and ran like 10:08. And then Bilotti ran his 10:1. I think Akeem won your heat, I think.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you about that still. Keep going.
Yeah. I'll tell you. But I just saw like it was shaping up into like a wicked final because everybody was like on point running fast. And then I'm like, okay, just be yourself. You know, I'm focused. And I remember when they were introducing us, I was right beside Dre. And then they said both our names. And then I remember he gave me a dap. And for a minute, I was like, did I just dap him? Like I'm supposed to be focused. that like took my mind off the race. I'm like, wait, stay focused. And then the gun went off and I had like a misstep. Like I had a nice little start, but then I misstep a little bit and I didn't get out that well. And Dre was beside me. I'm like, oh, I'm done. He's going to pull away. Cause I knew his finishes were crazy. So when I didn't get out way ahead of him, I'm like, oh, damn, I lost it. So I got second. And then I'm like, all right, soft. So we go through the process, get our medals, and then we have drug testing. So it's already late in the day because the 100 is the last event. And drug testing went late. And I didn't get home until to the hotel, like 12 something, maybe even 1. And I remember the schedule was whack back then. Like for some reason, it was like back-to-back 100s on Friday night. And then in the morning, it was 200s. We had to wake up at like 7 something and then run the 2s. So I was like, yo, this is trash. Like I woke up the next day. I think I ran like 21 something in the first round of the 2 because like I had nobody in my heat really. So I shut down. And then we're going into the finals and it started to rain and it got delayed. Everybody was cheesed. Nobody wanted to run except for Brendan. And Brendan was the only one hyped to run when it opened back.
I'm going to tell you about that.
That he was on one because like after the first round, he was hyped. He ran like 22 or something like that. I'm like, why is he going so fast? What's wrong with this guy? But he hadn't run the 100 yet. So he was hyped. And so we're going into the finals. Everyone's like, yo, I don't even want to run. I remember like me, Dre, Gavin, we're like, yo, this is whack. And then Brandon's like, yeah, let's go. It's time to run. And then I'm thinking like the 100, like Andre's the man. He's my main guy that I got to go against. Just run him down because he's on the outside of me and I'll be good. And so we go off the corner. Brandon's in lane 3. And then I think I was in like 5 and Dre was in 6. I come up a little bit ahead of Dre. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I just look to my left. Brendan was like, I swear to God, like 30 meters ahead of us. I'm like, yo, we're getting murdered. What is going on? Like Brendan was like killing us off the corner. And then I'm like, yo, I can't even catch him. I'm not even going to try. So I'm just like, yo, just battle with Dre, go to the line, make the team, and we're good. And then we cross the line and I see 1996. And then he's like, yo, bless me with the wind. And they're like, win legal. I was like, yo, this guy is cool. And then I just remember I was second in both, and I was kind of cheesed after both races because I'm like, yo, I came in ranked number 1. Dre passed me in the 100. Brendan passed me in the 2. That was kind of trash, but I was like, oh, whatever, I made the team. And then we all went out to party. We're turning up, whatever. But it was weird because like some of us were hyped because we knew we were on the
Some man's new.
Everybody else was like stressed. So like I wanted to like turn up, but I couldn't turn up too much because I kind of felt bad. So then like you guys are talking about the emails, those came out. You guys were hyped, but then there was like some of the girls, they were like crying because they didn't get the email. So I was like, oh, this is just trash. You know, I hate Glenn Royal. And then they're just going off, whatever. And so I don't know. It was a crazy time during the trials, but I just remember like everybody was on point that time, and that was one of the best nationals that I can remember because like so many people were running fast, and you didn't know who was going to make the team. Like some fast people that normally were on the relay team didn't even make the finals, which was crazy.
Man, Dre, you at this point, man, you had a very successful career in college and like you top dog, right? What it's funny, man, because I remember literally like 5 or 6 years ago, I was talking to one of my mentors and my coach at the time, Ken Rose. And we just sitting there after practice. I said, man, the first person who breaks 10 seconds in Canada in the 100 meters is going to be set. Well, you were that first person. Now you're coming into the first person since Donovan and Bruni and those guys. You know, you're coming into 2016 with a lot more pressure on your shoulders than you're probably used to. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was on. It was a little bit of pressure still. Definitely just being the first guy to do it since them. And then of course they were in the stands watching too, Donovan and Bruni. So I felt like I had to like have a good run just for not just for like people watching, but for them as well. Cause like I felt like they were trying to like pass me the torch kind of thing. So definitely felt it was a little bit nervous. But I think I got the nerves out in the first round. Like I was going up against Bellotti. I just remember, Bellotti gave me a look. He kind of made me a little bit nervous there when he got out on me. I remember that. I was like, whoa, where's this guy going? Come back here. So I just remember like once I kind of like ran the first round, I ran 10-0. I was like, okay, the bugs are kind of out, nerves are out, and now I'm ready to run. So I just remember like, our coach Stu, he was just like going through the game plan. He was like, don't take this for granted. Weather conditions is good. Just your time right now. You can run sub 10 because I hadn't broke sub 10. I hadn't broke sub 10 that year. That was my first sub 10 of the year. So I was like, you need to do it now so you can prepare yourself for the Olympics. So I just remember like it was all good. I remember I was like dapping up Aaron. I'm like, it's good. It's good, don't worry, man. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, that got me still.
I had to break his little focus a little bit, I felt like he was too focused. So I was like, nah, chill out, just give me a dap, make a smile. I just was like, after that, once I got out, I was like, oh, okay, it's in the bag, like, I'm good. Like, I was just like, now it's just me and the clock, because once Aaron didn't get out, I didn't even see you. I don't know. I think you were like in lane 2 or something like that, lane 3. So I didn't even.
I'm gonna tell you the whole thing. So you went on to win the 100, and you made at this point we all know that we kind of made the team. But honestly, before I share my part, when I was going in, man, like I can always kind of tell where a person's at mentally and how they're gonna move, right? And I gotta say, to this day, the person who I knew was going to dominate this whole thing, bro, from this weekend was Brendan. But it wasn't because, Brendan was moving well. Like, he was rolling, don't get me wrong. But there was more behind the story, right? Because if I remember correctly, Brendan, we were talking, I think it was like a week or two before, like, your mom was going through some health issues. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just about winning the 200. This was about, I'm running for my mom. You know what I'm saying? And when I saw you, I was like, okay, he got a fresh cut. He's serious right now. He lined everything up. I was like, but I saw your first Excel. And I was just like, this was in practice. I said, this man is different right now. Did you feel different? Because that meet, you ran 19.
Yeah, well, I think it was just all a build up to it. It started, I think it started 2015. I remember sitting in the stands in Beijing and watching Dre medal, and like I cried. I was like, I wasn't crying because like I was like upset or anything. Like I was happy for him, and I was like genuinely happy because like because my roommate, we're friends. I see where he's coming from, and I was like, this guy can do it. Like I can do it too. I PB'd in that meet, and I was like, okay, it was good. And then 2016 came around, and in my opinion, I was the man that year, so I was full of confidence with everything. And then my mom got sick, so I was flying back and forth between Canada and the US. I went to NC's indoor nationals, and I had flew in the night before, but knowing like my mom was having brain surgery the same time, so like it was like, why did I leave my mom even though she wanted me to? So like those are the things that were going through my mind, and like I felt like I underperformed, but it was still good performances based on what was going on in my life. But like we don't make excuses, so like we move on and whatever. Then I get to nationals, and again Jay runs 9.9. I see Aaron made the team. You, and I'm like, Bloody came forth. I mean, I didn't really know him at the time, but I knew he ran 6:57 in the air, went to World Indoors and all those different things. So I knew, like, all right, these guys they're rolling. So, you know, every time I seen somebody do something, I was like, all right, you know, and it's like something building up inside of me. So like I get like this little feeling like, okay, all right, these guys are running fast. Like, it's fast, it's time to go. And I hadn't run yet. And I think I was like 5-6 weeks out from running because after NCs, we just have a break. And we have like, usually USA is like 2 weeks after NCs, but we're like a whole month and a half after that. So I had a long break and we run the 200 heats and I was like, all right. I run 20.2 and I was like, oh, that was easy. All right. And I screamed, I was like, let's go. Ready up for the next round and rain delay. So I in between the rounds, though, my coach, I mean, like, Coach Simon is like one of my
much
best
respect.
friends now in life. Man, he's just like, all right, you know, good run, da da da. And he knows like how I am. Like if I get too excited, he'll like try to talk to me or whatever. But then he just didn't talk to me, and I was like, yo, coach, I'm gonna go sit in the corner. So I'm in the corner listening to music, and like I just start crying like for no reason. And it's like I guess the music I was playing, and then like the thoughts in my head were like, okay, you know, your mom's still sick and she's still at home, can't even do much. Like what's going on? Like you came here to do. So get into the blocks and you know, all I remember my coach saying like, yo, focus on your lane, like you could run the curve. So I did what he said. I got into straight and the only thing I could hear was him saying lift. Like if there was 1,000 people running, the only voice I would hear was his. Like I said, he's my best friend now and somebody that like I look to and I've seen this time and I was like, oh shit. And I thought I wanted it to be win legal. Like it just like running the time is great, but when it's win legal, it just has that much more meaning. And like it all came into one, like the full circle of from 2015 straight back and like all the things that we went through for the whole year. And like that happened, it was just like, all right, I accomplished what I need to accomplish. And I think that was the main focus, like, you know, getting through the rounds and making the team after all of the drama that was going on throughout the year.
You know, man, people always ask me all the time. They used to say, "Akeem, man, what happened during that meet, man? We saw you doing certain movements, right?" So for me, you know, Dre and I have been training together quite some time, but we didn't actually train together, but we were in the same group. So I remember the day before, you know, I'm talking to Stu, and Stu was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be there." I was like, "Yo, Saf, you're not running anyway." And Stu hit me. And he says, look, I just want you to take the first 40 out and then just chill the rest. But one of the best things that happened that whole meet, man, was one of my mentors, one of my good friends to this day, Ken Rose, came up, right? But the reason why he came up was just for support, right? Somebody, I think you always need to know who your support system in your field in every way in your life, because your support system are the people who they care about how you perform, but they just there for you. And he was there for me. So I remember getting in the blocks, right? And Gavin's right next to me. And 30 meters came in. I'm like, yo, where's Gavin? Where's this guy? And so I go and I shut it down. 50 meters came, I shut it down. In my mind, I was just like, yo, dog, I'm running like 9.7 today, at least. At least. Running 9. I was like, yo, I shut it down at 50. And I ran like 10:15. And I was like, yo, it's done. And then I remember cooling down. I was cooling down just jogging. And then I felt a twinge in my calf. I was like, oh no. And I'm jogging down and like, yo, my calves are buckling. And so I sit down and my calves are cramping. And so Mr. Rose comes and he's stretching my calf and I'm just like, holy frig. So I was just like, yo, he said, do you want some Gatorade? Doc, I knew Gatorade wasn't gonna do nothing, but I was like, yeah, go get it. But I needed to refocus and find another plan. Because in my mind, I had two options. I was like, yo, you can get out there and do your same start, but you're probably going to blow up towards the end. Or just to go back when Dre said, I didn't really see you, I was like, or you can back off at the beginning and come on strong. So I was watching every man warming up. I was watching Shogun. I was like, yo, Shogun's looking bouncy. I'm like, holy. And then I was watching Balade do a start. I was just like, frig, that's gonna be a problem. And I'm watching Aaron. I'm like, yo, when did Aaron get that knee lift at this championship? Yeah, I didn't get it. And like I've been training with Dre 24. So like I'm like, yo, Dre is just gonna be Dre. And I was just like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but yo, soft. And I remember getting to the box and I'm walking back, and I remember always going down to stretch my calf. And the race starts, and exactly what I said, I was like, all right, I'm gonna back off at the beginning. But I wanted to back off. I didn't want to back off at how much I backed off, because yo, Dre isn't really a wicked starter like that. But yo, Dre was gone.
Yo, it really was.
I was like, yo, where's this guy come from? Dre was gone. I saw Aaron step. And then I saw Balade, and I saw Shogun towards the end in the far lane. And I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to get one because I'm too far behind. Aaron's already there. So I'm like, yo, let me go ahead and just get this third. And I'm going. But as I'm trying to go and come on, like in what I planned in my head, yo, this guy Balade is on my hip. And I'm just like, yo, what's this guy saying? And I can hear him, and I can hear him. So I was like, yo, let me just dip. So that was my experience towards it. But, you know, I think part of the reason I want to get into that mental aspect of it is because, look, life is going to happen to you. It doesn't matter where you are, what competition you're at. Things are going to be out of your control. And it's the ones that who can adapt and control what they can control during that time are usually the ones that have the most success. And obviously, ultimately, you know what we were able to do once we got to the Olympic Games. And that's a discussion for another day. But I wanted to close with these last two questions, man. These are the last two fun questions, man. If you were on an island, right? Desert island for a week, what are 3 things you're taking?
Oh.
Shogun, tell me first. What are 3 things you're taking, man?
Let's start with the youngest. I'm gonna let's start with the youngest, and then let's go up. Let's work our way back.
You want to switch? Okay. Let's go. Balade.
Oh man, y'all want to put me on the spot like that? 3 things. I honestly, I'd want a knife.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, but you're not gonna use it, so it doesn't really matter.
What if you're not gonna use it though? Yeah, you will. A knife?
What are you gonna use it for?
Yo, you can use a knife to cut down some stuff. You know, you can use it to open up some things. Oh, Brendan, he asked me the question again. All right, don't tell me what I need or not. Okay, I know what I need. I need a knife. Okay, so first thing I would need is a knife. Second thing I would need. Second thing I would want is a flare gun. The third thing.
Oh yeah, you might.
The third thing I would want is glass.
Glass.
A knife, a flare gun, and glass.
What you want glass for?
Well, you can start fires with glass. Using it with if you angle it with the
guys are watching too many nature shows.
No, but you can though. You absolutely can.
You can.
Second of all,
So you waste your pick on glass when you can start fire with wood.
yeah, but why would I ask for wood on an island? There's gonna be trees there.
Exactly. So you don't need glass.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to start a fire with wood though. I know how to start with glass though.
Okay. So a knife, glass, and a flare for Balade. Dre, what are you taking?
All right, I'm taking a flashlight because I need light. I'm taking flashlight. What else? I need some type of axe or something like that to chop down wood. Need an axe? Something like that. Axe to chop down some wood so I can make fire probably. What else? Yo, I feel like this is like, I don't know, like I was thinking bug spray or something, but I don't know if
Oh,
that's necessary. Nah.
that's the least your fault. That's the least your words.
Because I get beat up. I just have to get some pest control around my house just now. Yo. Get up when I'm outside.
All right. So you're taking an axe. You're taking
flashlight and but yeah, even I don't even know if I need the flashlight because the battery's gonna run out anyways, right? The battery's
solar.
Solar flashlight.
All right, so we're gonna lock in the flashlight.
Final answer.
AB, what are you taking? I see you over there thinking.
All right. So, me and Priya have been binge watching Naked and Afraid. So I'm prepared for this question. All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna take a machete, right? So
that's what I thought. A gun. You need a gun. Yeah, you need a gun. Still, you do.
Run out of bullets.
You need to kill them animals, yeah.
Machetes to chop down wood,
Yeah.
get all that to start a fire, and also to kill animals so I can eat. I'm gonna take a pot so I can get water and boil it so I can drink it. Yeah. And then I'm gonna take a fire starter.
Oh,
so
like matches?
Fire.
Like what kind of fire starter? Matches or something? Like what?
Nah, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a fire starter thing where you like.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
make it look easy on the show. So I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, you can use 2 stones as well.
I can't even lie. Like if I was trapped on an island and I could take one person, I'd take Brendan. I'm gonna tell you why. Yo, I saw Brendan one time. I had never seen these type of hats before, right? But I had seen a lot of shows, and every man in the show was wearing like an army camouflage bucket hat. And yo, I saw Brendan with one of those hats. I said, yo, that's a man that knows he can chop up something in the woods if he needs to. Yo, so Brendan, what are you taking, man?
All right. First of all, like you said, we're there for 3 days?
You're there for a week.
Like, can I bring my phone?
I mean, how you gonna charge it?
Oh, like what?
I don't need a charge. Remember, like a phone battery lasts like 24 hours, 48 hours if you don't use it. So all I gotta need it for is like one quick call or some flashlight, and I'm not really going out at night. All right, I just need and then I need a machete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my phone. Call my son like, hey, son, I'm stuck on this island, but you know I love you. Da da da. One of those, yeah. Machete, and honestly, I really don't need anything else.
All right, so
maybe
you got
salt.
You got 2. Shagun, man.
And salt.
And salt?
Yeah.
I see a seasoning thing for you.
Yeah, so yeah, you can season stuff. And like if you get like cut, you can throw like salt in the wound and burn it and like and then you're back to normal.
Shagun, man, finish it up.
Antiseptic.
You need something to kill stuff with. So like a knife, same thing. I'll probably bring like a machete or something like that. 2, some sort of fire, so something like a match or a lighter or something to start fires with. And then the third thing for me probably would be we're on a deserted island, like in the middle of nowhere. Then I probably would bring like so we're on a deserted island. There are no like animals on the island.
No, there's animals and stuff.
Okay.
Hunt,
yeah.
baby.
You just got shook. You're like, yo, I don't want to get eaten.
So a knife, some sort of fire starter, matches or a lighter or something like that, and then I'd probably take just some sort of bowl or something like that too. I think I go with what Aaron said too, because you need something for like more than anything, you need water to like survive. So I'd probably take those three.
Last question, man. You know, I'm a firm believer that every single person in this planet, they resemble
I
something.
want to know what you taking first.
Yo, you see, when you're hosting the episode, you don't got stuff. And you guys all represent something, you know, whether you think about it or not. You know, you guys are all giving back in some way. You know, Andre, you started the Andre DeGrasse basketball classic. You know, Aaron, I saw you donating shoes the other day. Brendan and Balada, you guys are like basically ingrained in the ambassadorship of the schools you went to and what you're doing. And Shagun, you're out there, you know, speaking and you're talking to, you know, the younger generation. If there was one word that would represent who you guys are, what would that one word be?
Just answer.
Balade.
Relentless.
Shagun.
Probably say like inspiring or something like that, or motivation. Inspiring and motivational.
Brendan.
Mine is easy. I always believe, you know, believer.
Believer.
Believe in myself, believe in others. Yeah, I believe it. So.
Dre.
I'm gonna say humble.
Aaron.
Resilient.
Jeez. Look, man, I appreciate you guys jumping on with me, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
You gotta tell us yours.
Yo,
you're a motivational guy. You have to have one. This one you can't get away. You can't get away from this one.
For me, man, it's always going to be resiliency, you know, because resiliency is the ability to bounce back from a situation with a positive attitude, you know. So that's kind of always what it's been like for me. And, you know, before we even go, man, you know, from the outside looking in now, like I truly hope and appreciate that Canada especially, but the world globally, shows you guys the love you guys deserve when you're in it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we get so caught up in certain things and people don't realize what's in front of them until something happens. And I truly hope that you guys get the credit and the love that you deserve, but the appreciation, because you guys are seriously all changing the atmosphere of what Canadian sprinting looks like. Last thing, man, how can people stay in touch with you, man? Is there anything else you guys want to get out there? Balade?
I guess I'll go.
Where can people find you, man?
Instagram, at Balladicus. My Twitter handle is at Balade. You know, you can always reach me at any one of those. I've had lots of people contact me through them. So anybody with any questions, absolutely, by all means, ask me. You know, like I said, I reached out to, you know, I ask you guys questions all the time at random points, and you guys are openly, you know, answering my questions. So I want to give that and pay that forward. So at any time, at Balladicus on Instagram or Balade on Twitter.
AB, man, where can people find you, man?
Instagram, Twitter, at Kingsley SC, KINGSLEY SC. Facebook is my name, Aaron Kingsley Brown. YouTube, I have my own channel, Aaron Kingsley Brown as well. Hit me up anywhere there. I'll respond. I try to respond to everybody. Appreciate anybody who hits me up and watches my stuff. And I try to give back and shout other people out whenever they have something. I know you have your own YouTube channel. I check out some of your videos whenever I can. Our boy Busy just started his own podcast, so I check that out. So if anybody, I love when people are creative and try new stuff. So if anybody ever does anything, let me know. I'll try to shout you out the best I can. Show love to each other. Appreciate all y'all. Y'all are my brothers. You know, since Rio, I think we bonded and we've been a tight-knit group ever since, you know, breaking the Canadian record. We'll have that forever as a team. And, well, as long as it's there. But we'll have that medal forever. And just that moment of us coming together and doing something special. So anytime y'all need anything, you know, you always got your boy on your corner.
Appreciate it, man. Dre, man, where can people find you, man?
Yeah, I got a website. Contact me at andredegrasse.com. You can find all the information you need there, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the info is right there for you. So, but if you want to just go to my Instagram or Twitter, it's VE6 RASSE. Represent the 6 side at Toronto. So yeah, but if you want to contact me about anything else, business wise, or just just want to hit me up on tips or advice or anything like that, just my best bet is contact me on my website at andredegras.com.
Sugar, man, where can people find you?
Yeah, everything for me is my name. So that's Shegun Makinde. That's across everything: Twitter, YouTube.
And your podcast,
Instagram.
man. Plug your podcast in.
Yeah, and then also to my podcast. So my podcast, if you guys want to take a listen to it, anybody out there, and hopefully I get some of you guys on it too. It was the Inner Olympian podcast. I'm switching it up now. It's called the Unlimited Audio Experience. So yeah, you can hit me up in there. It's out on everywhere in all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. So you can check me out there, and I'm always free. Anybody wants to hit me up, y'all can hit me up. And yeah.
Brendan.
I have Instagram, Bucky JR, Twitter, Rodney Get him, Facebook, Brendan.
And all these guys are approachable, right? So if you see them, give them a shout, go say what's up, and if you got a question, ask it. I can't guarantee they'll respond right away, but they're gonna answer the question when they get to it, man. But that's a wrap on this one, man, and we'll see you guys next week.